Hello, you are watching the FinTech Magazine show brought to you by FinTech Magazine, InsurTech Magazine, and BizClik Media Group. My name is Scott Birch, and we'll be bringing you all the latest news, analysis, and opinions from the world of FinTech every 2 weeks right here on LinkedIn, YouTube, and our other digital platforms too. Now, joining me today is FinTech and InsurTech editor Joanna England. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Scott. How are you today?
I'm all right, Joe, actually. I'm okay. Although things seem to be conspiring against me a little bit. My neighbour has just decided to start hammering away in his garden. The dog was out barking. I could hear your cat prowling around earlier. So I feel there's going to be some strange noises in the background today. But enough about me and the noises. How are you, Joe?
Yeah, good. Very, very busy. Lots going on in FinTech and InsurTech at the moment. So hopefully we'll have an interesting show.
I think we will. It's going to be a packed one as well. We've got so much content to get through today. So let's get on with it. Just to remind you, you can come and say hello by posting in the comments section underneath the show. And also you can go and vote in our LinkedIn poll. So Joe, what question did we ask this week?
Okay, so this week we asked which cryptocurrencies are you most likely to invest in 2022? And the options were Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, and Binance Coin.
Okay, and we'll be sharing the results of that poll towards the end of the show, and we'll find out which ones Joe's investing in. But there's loads to talk about before then. Let's start by taking a look at the latest FinTech and InsurTech news.
Okay, so sorry.
Go ahead.
Live TV, what to do? Okay, so the first story I chose to talk about today is one about a fintech called Unchained Fund. Now, currently, charities are increasingly turning to cryptocurrency as a way to collect donations and distribute aid. And Unchained Fund just launched their new digital debit card that provides direct aid to vulnerable people in the Ukraine. So people can apply via an online app, and the application process prioritizes mothers with young children in the worst affected areas of Ukraine. And currently Unchained Fund is offering each applicant €100 in financial aid that can be placed on this digital debit card once their application is accepted, and then they can spend it directly through their smartphones on essential items that they need. So to date, the charity has received 7.5 million in cryptocurrency donations from across the world. And these sorts of initiatives we're seeing springing up all over the place because basically a lot more people are using cryptocurrency. However, because the transaction rate has increased by 912% over the last year, crime is also on the rise, unfortunately. And a new report has suggested that it's actually gone up by 1,300% in just 12 months. And this has generally thrown a lot more attention on the discussion about regulating cryptocurrency. So recently we saw US President Joe Biden, I think we've got some footage of him actually, he ordered an official investigation into the ways the space can be better regulated. And in terms of the regulation that he would like to see happen, there would be more consumer and investor protection, more financial stability, less illicit activity, better US competitiveness on a global stage, more financial inclusion, and more responsible innovation within cryptocurrency. But of course, opinion is very much divided among the experts on whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. Because let's face it, cryptocurrency and decentralized finance was developed as a reaction to governments and financial systems manipulating currencies and economies anyway. So it is a difficult one to decide on though, because without regulation, crime and money laundering potentially happens unchecked and the market remains extremely volatile. And with regulation, big investors throw their weight behind the space, making it much safer for small-time investors. And big-time investors too, of course. But is that too much of a price to pay for the current freedom and privacy that crypto and DeFi offers? Some people say yes, some people say no. The jury's out as far as I'm concerned. Do you have a take on that one, Scott?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I know exactly what you said. You said, there's pros and cons of both approaches. I suppose it depends on who you are and why you want to invest or use crypto. One side of the coin, see what I did there, would argue that regulation is there, as a force for good and to combat all of the things that you highlighted and that Biden talked about as well. But then you're absolutely right. The whole reason that these cryptocurrencies were really invented in the first place was to avoid the financial institutions and to increase that what's the word I'm looking for? Anonymity, I suppose, so that governments can't track everything about your life and know what your moves are. It's like any freedom, right? I suppose it's, what degree of freedom do you expect from different aspects of your life, and which should be regulated and monitored by higher powers, like as in government. So that's my take on it. What's your personal view on it, Joe?
See, the jury's out for me, because as much as I respect the idea that privacy, is paramount, and that freedom is very important. I do think that some regulation kind of would be beneficial. It just depends on how much overstepping, or if there is any overstepping, how much that happens. I guess it's just a watch and wait scenario. Let's see what Biden's team comes up with, and no doubt there will be naysayers on both sides.
Yeah, and of course, the other thing to remember here with cryptocurrencies being global currencies as well, Biden can say and do what he wants, right? That's only going to affect things in the US. Now, obviously, that could have more considerable global implications, but it's very hard to regulate something that is global in its very nature, unless you've got buy-in from all stakeholders. Look, we've got to move on because we've got loads of content, as we said at the top of the show. So, Joe, let's talk about something from InsurTech as well. Now, obviously, this is the FinTech show, but we also carry regular news and updates from our sister product, sister brand, sister platform, which is InsurTech. So why don't you give us a news story from there, Joe?
Okay, so my second story, which is on InsurTech, is an interview that we did with Chris Gill of the UK InsurTech Oversea, and we discussed with him 5G and the IoT and what the effect that's going to have on the InsurTech industry. So the main takeaway for me on this one is that although huge strides are being made in terms of sensors, new data sources, real-time data delivery, the biggest challenge facing the insurance industry is the lack of tech talent available to help them access these innovations. So currently only 2% of the insurance industry global is classed as InsurTech. And there's still a lot of reliance on legacy systems which are simply not compatible with these new technologies. So really, until the war on talent is somewhat won, there are going to be a lot of issues being thrown up as a result of this. So it's a space to watch for sure.
Okay, space to watch. And the place to watch that is, of course, on our websites, which are fintechmagazine.com and insurtechdigital.com. And you can see those trundling across the bottom of the screen as we speak. Now, still to come after the break, we're going to be taking a closer look at some of the great features we've got in the new April issue of FinTech Magazine, and we're looking ahead to FinTech Live taking place in London later this year. But first, Joe, you have an interview, I believe, we're going to share with us.
Yeah, that's right. I interviewed Zach Bronstein. He's the CEO at Endowment. It's a first of its kind blockchain-based, not-for-profit fintech. Gosh, that's a mouthful, isn't it? And it was interesting to hear what he had to say about cryptocurrency regulations and charities.
We're seeing a lot more charitable and political endeavors being financed by cryptocurrency. Why, in a nutshell, is that?
So to put it as simply as possible, it's because more people have cryptocurrency and are using cryptocurrency on a regular basis. last I checked, and the stat is from February of this year, so it might be a little stale at this point, but about 1.5 million different Ethereum addresses are created every month. So that gives you an idea for the kind of the adoption curve here and how quickly we're accelerating. On top of that, and in addition to the value of the underlying assets, people are really interested in the technology, in the projects, in the protocols that are propping up in this space, that are creating new novel use cases and have inherent value, right? So people see, and let's tie back to transparency for a second. People see that cryptocurrency provides this new opportunity to be really transparent with where your funds are coming from and where they're going, and figuring out the right way to integrate that into kind of existing for-profit or nonprofit structures is really enticing for a lot of people. And I think, the important bit here is that even when the price of Ethereum or generally the market cap of cryptocurrency generally goes down, we tend not to see a decrease in the amount of people either opening up new Ethereum addresses or, specifically in the case of endowment, making donations on our platform, which says to me that as much as people are really interested in the space because of the growth of the assets themselves and the worth of those assets, people are really interested in the ways that this technology is going to change the way that we operate in technology, in the nonprofit world, in the for-profit world, and beyond.
So there's lots of talk about decentralized finance now being regulated by governments, particularly in light of President Biden's recent directives. How will this affect charities using crypto? Will it affect them negatively, positively? What's your take?
I view regulations' effect on nonprofits using crypto as a positive force. I see this as something that is going to underscore the fact that cryptocurrency is a legitimate form of asset. It is legitimate to receive and make cryptocurrency transactions. And honestly, the more that government gets involved in things related to cryptocurrency in the Web3 space, the more nonprofits are going to have a really easy time telling their board and their donors, hey, we're willing to accept cryptocurrency, perhaps via endowment, perhaps directly. We're excited to work with people that want to do NFT fundraisers. Really, like, regulation brings legitimacy, plain and simple.
Okay, sorry, I was actually messaging Kieran, our video guy, on my phone as we were talking. That's great to have Zach on the show. Really enjoyed that, Joe, actually. We've got to do some more of those. And we've got more great content to share with you after this short break. And the reason why I was messaging Kieran might become crystal clear, sapphire clear, after the break.
BizDigital is simply providing better digital access to our specialist insurance expertise. My name is James Wright. I'm Head of Technology for BizDigital. We've got 5 key objectives, and these are doing the basics really, really well, meeting our brokers where they want to be met, easy access to our specialists, using data to really drive our business, and continually striving for better. By ensuring our products and services are really going to be relevant and efficient in a more digital future. And to do that, we're really focused on developing our internal talent to have the right skills to change and optimize what we do, but leveraging their subject matter expertise in building that digital future. Our approach in working with our partners is that we like to have shared goals. We like to ensure that our cultures are quite closely aligned, and ensuring that we've got shared ways of working. So when we come to delivering our business outcomes, that's as efficient as it can be. So next for us is establishing our business, our credibility, by delivering on our business plan for this year, and to ensure that we continue to serve our clients this year and beyond.
Customers and employees are producing millions of signals critical to your business. How they feel, what they like, why this product and not that, where they're spending money, what could be better, or what would make them happier, spend more, and be more loyal. These signals are flooding into your organization in live time. Medallia captures all these signals and makes sense of them, so you can understand every experience along every journey. Our artificial intelligence analyzes all these signals to detect patterns, identify risk, and predict behavior. So you can fix problems before they happen and double down on opportunities to make experiences extraordinary. Because with Medallia, customers build the best products, employees build the best companies, and together, we build the best brands.
Hey, welcome back. And still to come, we've got the results of our LinkedIn poll and also news on the top 100 women in fintech and in SureTech as well. Actually, that's top 10 women in SureTech. Now, before we go any further, remember to come and say hello and post in the comments section. I was just having a quick look through, actually. I noticed that people are even networking in our comments section. So today, for instance, we've had the pleasure of connecting Michael and Esther, who met each other while watching this show, and no doubt will be connecting. There you go, there's Michael. No doubt they will be connecting and doing some fintech business together. Now let's move on, and some news that came in the last 24 hours actually from across the proverbial pond, is that friends of the show Sapphire have been making a series of exciting announcements lately. And rather than me telling you about that, I thought who better than Stephen Roche from Sapphire. So Stephen, I think you're joining us from New York right now.
Yeah, right now. I'm finally back on your show here, Scott. Thanks for having me.
It's been too long, Stephen. It's been too long. It must be weeks. But look, thanks so much for joining us. As usual, we reached out to you at very short notice. But I thought, yeah, rather than me sharing your exciting news, we could get it direct from you. So why don't you tell us the announcement you've made just in the last day or so?
Right. And we've been making a series of fintech announcements. We're calling it the season of fintech announcements. So the latest one that we have is of Raymond Shivers, right? So it is a tremendous honor and privilege to have a man of his caliber join the Sapphire endeavor. It's been a long time coming. I would say he had a plethora of choices to go to. He could have gone to any fintech firm or any, normal financial institution to go work and have a wonderful career at, but he chose Sapphire, which was a great honor to both Gabino and the extended team at Sapphire. We're very, very happy to have him. He has a background experience of being the COO and former COO of global investments at BlackRock. So he truly understands everything that we're trying to transform, and understands, our current relationship with BlackRock and what's going on between us and our relationship that you guys have covered over some time. And he has the experience of working with other fintech firms and their growth trajectory and how we should be growing our business as well. So he's helping streamline some of that. And another experience he had was working as the COO of Lincoln Investments. And one of the biggest challenges when he went there to create automation, which is kind of our thing, intelligent automation, is that most of their automation and setups of funds was in the mailroom. He had a huge mailroom that was everything very manual, and he successfully transformed that business and had a great career there as well. So that that kind of experience and knowledge is priceless, I gotta say, and helping us plug in together the matrix that we're creating with all the great success stories is just another compliment to have him on board and assist us taking us to the next level.
Yeah, that's awesome news, and clearly, you've got some great plans ahead of you. But why don't you just give us a brief overview of some of the other announcements you've made in the last couple of weeks as well?
Yeah, so the first big one we did was our Series A. We had a whopping $18.7 million raised. So, yeah, kudos to us, but it's not just about raising the amount of money, is what we're going to be able to do with that money. So we didn't necessarily need to raise the funds for, to continue what we're doing. It's really for the growth phase that we're going into, to make some key hires like the Ray Shivers that we hired as our new COO at Sapphire and others to really accelerate the expansion and growth that we're expecting to come in the months and years, in the near future. So that's really what we focused on. And part of that relationship was two new ones. Obviously, JP Morgan, doubled down on their vision with Sapphire's endeavor. And then we had a new player that came into the fold, someone that's based in Europe, closer to you, but actually in Paris, BNP Paribas, right? So they're extremely excited about having us, so much so that they've invited us to their VivaTech 2022 conference this June to be on stage with them and to be a part of their section there in their booth. So that was a great honor. They have their capital markets business engaging with us and all their other business arms, including custody and the asset management arm. So they're big believers of us, and we're super excited to be partnering with them. And lastly is a new partner, the lead investor, HCAP Partners. We've met with, I have to tell you, almost over 5 years, over 200 potential lead investors, and all of them with all kinds of agendas, whether they want to control us or buy us out. And we want to keep this vision. When HCAP Partners came to us, we had enough experience with enough people to see that in the very first conversation that these were likely the ones we were going to do business with, and it was a no-brainer when it occurred. So they've been wonderful in keeping the integrity of the vision that we had for Sapphire moving forward, and they helped us, acquire, Ray Shivers and a couple other key individuals that we've hired onto, the Sapphire endeavor, like I always like to say. So that was one piece that we started with the series of news. The second one is Global Custodian, a big publication in the financial industry, nominated us for FinTech of the Year. We're actually going to be at the Savoy in London to potentially win that award. There may be other awards that are up for grabs shortly. You may hear about too as well. But we're going to be making a tour up in London and Paris while we're there in that first week of May as well. But these are just three of the current press releases, as we have several more to come in the weeks, and we're trying to make them come on a weekly basis. But there's some other bigger ones, believe it or not, than the ones we're talking about here that should shake up the industry quite a bit.
Okay, I'm sure there are. And I know that's something that we're going to talk about in the next few weeks. I'm going to be sitting down with Stephen and Gabino as well. And we're going to do another feature interview for our magazines. So stay tuned for more on that. And fingers crossed for those awards as well, Stephen. And I hope to see you in London in a few weeks' time as well. But thanks again for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, and moving on. Now we're going to take a look at the April issue of FinTech magazine. Joe, over to you.
All right. Well, as you can see from the front cover of FinTech, we carried a great story that you wrote, Scott, actually. And it's on the shortage of talent in the technology industry and how this is being addressed by UST Step It Up.
Yeah, this was a really interesting interview, actually. Now, if you don't know UST, they're like a technology consultant. They describe themselves actually as probably the biggest technology company you may never have heard of. And this is just one initiative that they're doing. And I got the chance to chat with the really inspiring, actually, Olwyn Duputron of Step It Up. And they do incredible work helping Army veterans, minority groups, and women especially into work while also filling talent gaps in the technology industry. It's a really fascinating story and one that's got a happy ending, which I think we could all probably do with right now. So let's hear more about it directly from Olwyn.
What makes me proud to work with Step It Up is that it's a program that's transforming lives every day. My name is Olwyn Duputron. I am Director of Step It Up with UST. Step It Up is a program that custom trains individuals for specific roles in technology. We've put over 1,000 people through the program, 90% graduation rate, 87% are hired directly by our clients. And of those folks who have been hired directly, 90% are with organizations they've been hired with over 3 years. Step It Up works closely with our clients to really understand what skill is missing and what that skill gap is. We build a curriculum customized for that specific need that you're facing, and we train the number of folks that you tell us you need up in that specific skill. Everyone who embraces the program, who participates on any level, their lives is definitely changed. That makes me proud because I see the transformation process, and I can see that it's a win-win for all around.
There you go. It's a really great initiative. Please do go and read the full article. I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. It's a really great story, and yeah, doing great, important work of getting people into much needed tech jobs as well. Joe, over to you. Let's have a quick look at something in the current issue of InsurTech magazine.
Okay, great. I actually wanted to focus on the top 10 women in InsurTech list that we published. We've heard a lot about women in fintech, obviously, with the recent release of our top 100 women in fintech list for 2022. But we shouldn't forget about those incredible executives behind some of the most disruptive InsurTech companies in the industry. So do check that out. I know we're going to be hearing a lot more about these InsurTechs in the near future.
Absolutely. Now, we've got loads of great interviews and features in the issues of FinTech and InsurTech magazine. And if you visit the websites, you can see all of those. You can read all the features, watch all the videos, and see all of our fabulous content. Now, we're going to move on and take a look at the results of the poll. So hopefully you've all had a chance to vote. So, Joe, do you have the results?
I do have the results. So in answer to the question, which cryptocurrency would you most likely considering investing in this year? Bitcoin came in at 34%, Ethereum came in at 55%, Tether at just 4%, and Binance Coin at 7%. And we had 600 votes in total on that poll. So that was a popular one. Not really surprised at that result at all. Actually, I was gunning for Ethereum anyway. Mainly because it's an open source crypto, which enables its own community to kind of self-regulate it. So it does have a little bit more safety attached, and also smart contracts can be attached to it as well. So yeah, an interesting result, but not an unexpected one.
Yeah, perhaps not. I have to admit, hands up here, I know very little about crypto, so I'm not going to get into a heated conversation about what I think the poll should have been. I'm going to move on actually and talk about our live events. Now we've got really important dates for your diary, as FinTech Live, or FinTech and InsurTech Live, returns as a hybrid event in London, taking place on the 9th and 10th of November 2022. Maybe you joined us last year. If not, here's a quick taste of what you missed. Good morning and welcome to the FinTech and InsurTech live show.
Buy more stocks, pushes the price up. You sell more stocks of the same kind, pushes the price down.
We saw 5 years of growth in digital payments here in the UK.
Eventually the market does work things out if there's a reason to, right? And there was a collective need to have a standard in those industries.
It's phenomenal. You guys have a great vibe in the area.
I love the hybrid events. I think to be here in person is an absolute privilege.
It's great to get into a room with people because you get an energy.
There you go. There certainly was an energy that day, and this was still against the the backdrop of some serious lockdowns and COVID still impacting live events. So many people who turned up to speak at our events last year said that it was the first time that many of them had done so for like 2 years. So I guarantee there's going to be a lot more people turning out for this one as well. And the speaker list is just really impressive. Now, we'll be sharing more details on that as we get closer to the show. And of course, there'll be regular updates in the magazine, on our websites, and on this very show here as well. Now, that's what we've got time for this episode. Really hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you tune in again in around 2 weeks' time. I have to say, Joe, I think this has been possibly my favourite show of all the LinkedIn Lives we've done. There's some great content today, so thank you for that. Thank you, of course, as well for joining us, for interacting, for watching, taking part in the poll. And this show is also available to watch on demand. So please do share it with colleagues or anyone interested in all things fintech and insurtech. So, Joe, thanks for being brilliant. To Stephen Roche from Sapphire, thanks for joining us at short notice. To Zach Bronstein at Endowment for spending time speaking to Joanna as well. To Kieran pulling the video strings, and Eve in marketing as well. This has been a BizClik Media Group production, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye, everyone.